If you want to engage with your audience more and get better tips, which I assume you do, one of the best tools I've found is song menus. There's no right or wrong way to do this, but I've actually experimented with this quite a bit, and these are some things that I've found. I like a simple trifold brochure, so it kind of stands up on the table if you need it to. It's black and white, big font, it's easy to read in low light. It's just cheap paper. You're going to burn through a ton of these, like the busboy's going to throw them in the trash until you teach them otherwise, so don't get too fancy with them. The front page is a hook. You want to make someone laugh or make them curious enough to open it instead of just ignoring it. Mine says, if you don't like the music, it's your own damn fault. I take requests. I encourage you to steal that if you like it. Write your own if you don't. Anyway, it's a hook on the front. The songs are listed by decade. I have a section for country too. If you have like a bunch of jazz or blues or, I don't know, hip-hop or Broadway show tunes or something else that doesn't fit as neatly into decades, you might want to put them in their own little section. I don't put anything on the list that I can't sing when I have a head cold. I don't want to get bombarded with requests for things that I can't deliver. I also leave off like the end of the night songs. I used to have Friends in Low Places on the song menu, and people would request it like 10 minutes into the gig, and then I'd get another request for an hour after that, and another one an hour after that. There's a little introduction section here on the back. I did my best to write this in my natural voice. The goal of this is I'm trying to get people into my world and to show them my personality. So if I wrote this with a bunch of like obnoxious corporate robo-speak, that would be really counterproductive. Contact info, you want to make sure there's an email address on here because you want people to fold this up and put it in their pocket or their purse and then send you an email the next day about, hey, can you provide music for this event I'm having or my sister's wedding cocktail hour or what have you. We'll talk more about this in its own lesson, but I have a phone number on here where people can call and text their requests. So that number is listed actually several times throughout the menu. I also have my Venmo listed on here, so if people don't have cash, they can still tip me if they want to. There is a very specific call to action, which is, hey, send me your requests and also tip me. The idea is to just make this super easy to browse, easy for people to find something they want to request, easy for them to give me money, the lowest barrier imaginable to being an active participant in the show. If you just put these on the tables, like right when you walk in, put them in there too early, people tend to ignore them, so I like to either hand them out immediately before I go on or even wait until I've played a little bit and then take, a 60-second break to put them into people's hands or drop them on their tables to get their attention. I made my most recent version of this downloadable in both Pages and Word formats, so you can just delete my info and put yours in. You'll still want to iterate your way forward from there, but this should give you a good head start. As you add songs to the various decades, you'll notice right away that you might have a huge surplus of songs from one decade, but that you're like scraping the barrel to get 10 songs from another, which is great. I mean, it helps you organize your practice so that you know what to learn next. I know I need to learn like a dozen more tunes from the aughts for that decade to be as strong as the other ones I have. If I put every song that I know on my song menu, I'd have to use a font so small that no one would be able to read it. So I just have like 10 or so from each decade, and I have an explicit note that says, hey, I know way more songs than this, so request it anyway. Save your finished or current version as a PDF in your Dropbox or in a thumb drive that you keep in your gig bag, and then on your way to your gig, you can stop off at FedEx office and print more anytime you need them. You probably shouldn't print 1,000 of them because it's going to change so often. If you play as both a solo act and as a duo, like I do, this is actually one of the duo ones. This is a guy I play with named Jasper, and he's also a singing guitar player. So we have a separate one for this show with his stuff and my stuff on there. If you play a lot of private parties and corporate events, you'll probably want to make one that doesn't have a bunch of obnoxious requests for tips. If you play like a quiet suburban bistro filled with baby boomers on Thursday, but then a noisy bar in the city that's, frequented by millennials on Friday, you probably want to make separate versions of your song menus for those. If the gulf between those two gigs isn't quite as wide, you might be able to do something I do on one of my Thursday night things is I just wait an hour to hand these things out. And that way I don't have to like belt out Rich Girl, which is the top of my vocal range while people are eating some $39 entree. Make sure you label them clearly when you save the files so that you can print the right ones. You don't print 50 and it's the one from your duo and you're headed to your solo gig, or it's the one that you wanted to take some song off because you don't feel like playing anymore, just label them, just put the date. Mine just says song menu, solo song menu, October of 2018, and I just update it from there. Again, this is always a work in progress. I'm constantly updating and tweaking this. For example, Instagram just released something that they call name tag, which allows people to scan a simple icon with their phone and then find someone really easily. So I'm going to put it on the song menus and ask people to follow me and to tag me in whatever videos they capture. Point is, don't wait. Get started with a song menu now. You can always update it as you figure new things out.